torch and a torch. So the runners will be able to light their way. Unfortunately, those will not be needed.
Miniature, they're not hearing us. Oh, alrighty. It sounds like they are hearing us. that was pretty good timing on that. I'll wait for a bit of a lull in the early goings here to give that introduction again. But looks like we have a divergence in strategies here right from the get-go.
It looks like Thilotilo trying to get a little bit of a early experience lead, whereas Xarnax42 has saved his key by using the return spell and will be taking a look at our treasury.
All right, and so in the treasury for Xarnax42, we have wings, we have fairy water, we have Airdrick's sword, there it is, and an herb, the big stick pickup for Xarnax. Amused Miniature, you have nothing to worry about. You rolled a perfect seed. Thilotilo needs to get into that treasury with much haste, or he is going to find himself eating Xarnax's dust.
Erdrick's sword this early is certainly a huge plus to have. For those who missed what was in the throne room, there was the obligatory key and a pair of torches, so nothing too important to be found there. And for those of us who are just joining us for the first time, have never seen Dragon Warrior Randomizer, our runners are going to be looking for a few key items, one of which is very helpful, which is that sword that Xarnax has picked up from the treasury. But among some of the other items they're going to be looking for, they will be looking for the token, the Stones of Sunlight, the Silver Harp, which they will then need to trade in for the Staff of Rain, and then the Rainbow Drop. The Rainbow Drop will be what allows them to get into the final castle, which is Charlock, in order to go and face that Dragon Lord that our king was giving us a few kind words about, saying that we will need to defeat him.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very important. A lot of required items there, and one of the more or less required items already in the hands of Xarnax42. Going to be swinging that Airdrick's can opener. Going to go ahead and take out this magician with a Kaishin no Ichigeki for 8 quick experience points.
And as we see some of these levels heading to Xarnax's way, we also see another actual requirement, which is the Heal More spell at level 3, so healing very early on.
Absolutely, and synchronous deaths here as a wolf takes out Xarnax. Wolf's still able to hit hard. They don't have a whole lot of defense power yet. And Thilotilo still on level 1. Again, it's easy to do this up here in the commentator's booth. You really might want to reset, and Xarnax is actually going to go ahead and reset. Change to a capital A. I don't know what build that is. But is going to go ahead and go back to level 1, knows he can pick up that sword immediately, and is not really going to waste much time in doing so.
So, interestingly enough, a capital A looks like it is going to be a MP HP build.
Well, that is a very interesting choice given this particular start. And now he's going down to the basement. This is putting some spin on the ball here. He really wants to check and see what's in this basement cave. Maybe this is looking like a mountain cave, potentially? Looking for some extra chests to do a gold grind? Angel FM saying he might be looking for info. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I see chat might be catching on to what he was looking for here, which does appear to just be some info for the moment, to see if it might have been wiser to save that key, build up a little bit of gold so that more keys could then be purchased.
Oh, wow, and this pays off big. He makes the hero walk to the first 3 chests in the grave, picks up an extra key and gold, and I think that was an herb. That was a insanely heads-up play. Yeah, wow. He's going to get taken out by the Demon Knight, but it doesn't matter. He's still got a key. He's still got gold. He can go get more keys from the back of Tantagel, pick up the sword, and still lap Thilotilo in the early goings of this seed.
This is going to be interesting because it appears that he's going to actually stick with this build as well.
Yeah, that, depending on how soon Thilotilo, if ever, you know, he does just need to find keys. It's not out of the realm of possibility yet for him to come back in this if he can find either an early key in the mountain cave somewhere on the map, maybe even a bonus cave, or just the town of Rimmildar itself. He can go and pick up that Erdrick sword, but once he does, he's going to know that he's pretty far behind, and I'm sure by the time that happens, even given the reset from Xarnax here, he will be behind. And yes, ETAP noting that he does have gold grind potential. We didn't really see much in terms of big ticket items in Breckenary as far as I remember. I think there was half plate maybe was the best thing they could buy. But yeah, some very, very interesting opening moves here from Xarnax. Everyone get out your notepads. This is high level play.
And with that gold grind possibility, for those who are not familiar with how the gold grind works, chests will respawn every time you go to the overworld map. However, due to programming limits at the time that this game was made, it will only track up to 8 chests as being opened. So every time that a chest is opened beyond the 8th chest, it can be taken over and over again. And that's what we saw happening with Xarnax in the Treasury, where the 2 last chests he opened did not disappear. When you go back to the throne room, there's 3 chests. Those are always counted as open, so those automatically get added into your count. And then when he went into the basement and we found that was the grave of Garanham, he picked up 3 more chests, giving him a total of 6. So after 2 more chests in the treasury being opened, he could no longer open any more chests and have them disappear. Now, of course, in the vanilla game, this isn't a problem because there's usually not a way to open 8 chests without having to die from somewhere, but in this case he can go directly from the throne room to the treasury and into the grave and pick up all the gold he could ever want, being able to purchase a very valuable shield later perhaps, seeing as how the silver shield is 14,800 gold.
Absolutely, yeah. You basically have free access to print money with that gold chest there in the grave. I do want to point out something. Yeah, exactly. High Spirit's pointing it out himself. Xarnax is taking a chance going with the HP MP build. For those unfamiliar with the base version of Dragon Warrior, your name does affect your stats over time. Xarnax has the HP MP build. He's getting a bonus for strength and agility early and a bonus in HP and MP late. But the more common build to go is what Thilotilo has. He has a strength HP build. He's going to get better agility and MP early, but later on in this match, he's going to have more attack power. If this comes down to Xarnax not quite having enough attack power to win, and Thilotilo does, Xarnax may need to get a couple of extra levels over Thilotilo, and he could still win. This is as odd of a situation as I have ever seen in my years of running and commentating this game, but it is not over by any means.
I have to say it's an interesting move on Xarnax's part to go ahead and reset check the basement. I can only imagine that the A being selected was just because it was the first letter on the name selection screen. And wow, a red slime going toe-to-toe with Thilotilo the red slime, and showing that his sliminess is better with a Dragon Lord 2 breath. And Xarnax taking his role a little too seriously there and becoming a ghost as he is sent back to the castle as well.
Yeah, fortunately for Thilotilo, you know, he's the worst part is that he's having to deal with these atrocious level 2 stats, only gaining 1 strength point at level 2. Fortunately, there are red slimes available here, and I think there might have been blue slimes as well. So he does have something that he can kill. He's got that Heal More spell in his back pocket. Only 1 cast, but still nothing to sneeze at, and he is going to slowly make his way to level 3. I don't know exactly the difference between 2, 3, and 4 here, but hopefully going to be enough for Thilotilo to make a little bit more headway as Xarnax, again, going to be killing things with reckless abandon. And
Yeah,
now
some of these-
Xarnax gonna go ahead and take level 5.
It would appear some of these early zones with the zone 0 holding Slime through Scorpion, and then zones 1 and 2 holding enemies that are all the way up to the Wolf. Those are, of course, going to be some of the zones that you're going to typically see right around Tantagel Castle. Some really tough-looking enemies with having ghost breathing fire, slimes that breathe fire.
Absolutely a lot to contend with, and Thilotilo showing his knowledge of Randomizer as well, making full use of that sleep spell to try to take out this Draki, even though he only has 5 strength, making full use of his resources and abilities here to do whatever he can to stay in this race.
And speaking of Wolf, there is Xarnax taking out a Wolf as well.
Fury SK noting in chat that Xarnax did indeed double his power at level 5, so we do know that there is some respite. Oh, this is huge. Not only is there respite in terms of strength in Tilo's future, Rimeldar is not very far away. Xarnax immediately resets again, wants to go ahead and do a gold grind, I suppose. I'm not sure exactly why he reset here. He didn't even check the item shop.
Looks like he switched back to his original file, seeing that there is keys not far away. He wants to go ahead and go back to the preferred strength HP build, it looks.
Alrighty, yes, very heads-up play. A lot of very high-level heads-up play here from Xarnax. Finding those keys, knowing you can just go back and get those keys whenever he wants, and yes, again, switching back to that more standard meta capital Z strength HP build. Thilotilo, unfortunately, going in a little bit of the wrong direction here, heading east, wanting to, of course, avoid that swamp to the south, but he needs to go there sooner rather than later so he can pick up his key and his Erdrick Sword along with it.
Yeah, that's a fair amount of experience lost for Xarnax. Not really that difficult to make up for it with having Erdrick Sword already, but he did lose a good chunk of experience there that he's going to have to regain.
Absolutely. Getting his experience back here is not going to be too much of a challenge. Tilo did hit level 3, is going to go ahead and check the shop here, finds a nice shiny broadsword that he unfortunately cannot afford. Does go ahead, he might have wanted to buy the clothes, but doesn't have enough money for that either. Some cheap armor options available if he wants them later. Meanwhile, Xarnax heading west to see if he can see anything special. Does see some wolves, which are nice and tasty.
And a question in chat, what is the advantage to using the alternate save? So that's going to be something we'll definitely want to ask Xarnax about here. Typically, there's not a advantage to having more than one save, but what Xarnax did was kept his save where he already had levels gained, he already had some exploration done, and decided to take a different look at what he could use his key for. And then he was able to find where he can actually purchase keys not very far away, which he's actually looks like he's going to be heading that way now. So he was able to return back to his original save file where he had the strength HP build, meaning that he will get better strength and HP gains later compared to the HP MP build, which was going to actually penalize him on his strength gains later.
Alrighty, taking care of some things behind the scenes here as Xarnax is going to get sent back by a Demon Knight, and Thilotilo over here on the other side of your screen he got the Hurt spell at level 4, and wow, making very, very good usage of the sleep and hurt combination. He's going to take out a Wolf Lord here, and he's going to make up a huge chunk of that experience lead between himself and Xarlax. Folks, I know it got lost in the early goings, but these two are very, very experienced runners. They're showing their experience here. Xarnax hitting level 6, Tilo hitting level 4. This is an insane race. Xarnax now heading south, going to go ahead and pass up the town of Rimeldar. Don't remember what cave that was over there. I'm sure Xarnax checked it out already, choosing instead to check out this cave that he does not know the contents of. Going to go ahead and cast that Radiant spell, see what's up here. This is going to be the Tablet Cave. This is the only cave in Dragon Warrior that does not have any monsters in it. It's just a short trip to a single treasure chest that could have a required item in it, or it could have absolutely nothing. We're just going to have to wait and find out.
And so far, we actually haven't seen any of the required items for being able to beat the game, other than we have Heal More. We have picked up Erdrick's Sword. While not a requirement, it definitely makes things easier. But this time, all we find in the Tablet Cave is a lonely
Absolutely, probably a bit of a moldy one there, left by our revered ancestors. But could be useful in Xarnax's back pocket there, as not a lot of people opt to take the time to walk over to that item shop in Breckenary. So it's a little bit of healing there in Xarnax's back pocket, should he need it. And while we do have a little bit of a lull in the action, I will go ahead and just kind of go over what would have normally been the intro that was lost due to some technical difficulties. My name is Lavkian. I'm joined in the commentary booth tonight by RyuSeishin. And we, of course, have Thilotilo and Xarnax42 doing the racing for you guys today, putting on the action. And these two are seasoned veterans of the Dragon Warrior Randomizer community, Xarnax and the Randomizer community especially. He has been around for a couple of years now. Last year, Thilotilo and Xarnax both went 4-1, both got the first round bye in the bracket stage, and actually got matched up against each other. Xarnax actually knocked Thilotilo out in that second round matchup, and then was knocked out himself by BTs. So whether or not these two runners are aware of it, this is a potential revenge match for Thilotilo. As to how they got here now, both runners are 0-1. We are in the second week of the Dragon Warrior Randomizer tournament, and the reason why they're 0-1 is because Xarnax was beaten by Braxis Muse, and Thilotilo was beaten by the king of Dragon Warrior Randomizer himself, Xarnax42. And so again, that is how these two titans of Dragon Warrior Randomizer have wound up 0-1 and facing each other here tonight. Yes, I would say Nescard is the king because he is #1 on the SRL leaderboards by a lot of points. And I don't remember if he's won a randomizer tournament. I think the finals have all pretty much been between Nescard, Game Boy F9, and Mr. Holmes. But yeah, I would personally give that crown to Nescard. But of course, you know, no love lost for McGrew and Game Boy F9 for creating this randomizer.
I have to say, although Nescard might be the tops of the SRL boards, we have seen a lot of these runners, including Thilotilo and Xarnax, I believe, win against him. So definitely a lot of improvement over last year's tournament. So much so that I myself decided I was going to retire.
I see. Interesting choice there. Yeah, I mean, once you get into that top 10, I mean, Thilotilo right now is sitting 12th on the SRL leaderboard, and Xarnax is 22. But really, as we were talking about in a race earlier between Furon, Birdie, and Lorgon, anyone in that top 25 is a potential threat in this tournament. Do not count anybody out at all. Thilotilo still having a bit of a rough go of it. He's making again, the best possible use of his options here. Trying to take out this Wolf Lord, will do so with the Sleep Perk combination. Still sitting a little bit behind Xarnax42 in terms of you know, he still really needs to pick up keys. He does need to get that sword. And Ursine Desir noting in chat that Thilotilo is aware of the fact that this is a revenge match for him. Still potentially a little bit of salt in the veins there from his second round exits. And a chance for revenge if indeed he can pull that magic Erdrick sword out of the hat.
Alright, so we do see Xarnax is going for that gold grind that we were talking about earlier. And perhaps going to pick up a few extra fairy waters, which fairy waters will do exactly the same thing as the repel spell, which is to keep enemies from attacking you, although it is dependent on your attack power, if I remember correctly, on what it will ward away.
Absolutely, a bit of a heads-up play there from Xarnax, as they do not have access to the repel spell yet, which has the same effect. And Thilotilo going to find a town, probably hoping for, you know, a whole bunch of things. Rimbledar would have been a nice choice here. Garenham is nice to know where the location is. There are 3 chests in the back of Garenham, and a silver shield. If Thilotilo wants to do a gold grind later, he doesn't know that he has access to one, but we can see over on Xarnax's screen, he's already printing money. I'm not sure if he knows where his silver shield is yet, but if he has seen one, he's going to have one momentarily, and Thilotilo will have one for himself eventually as well.
And it looks like we may have just found the south of the swamp on Tilotilo's side. And Chad corrected me, it was actually keys that he was farming there and not fairies.
Yes, the fairy water was just the text glitching out as part of that gold grind glitch that is allowing Xarnax to get all the money his heart desires here. And Thilotilo making his way through the swamp cave. So far, not a whole lot of threatening monsters here. Some red slimes and easily dispatched Drakima goes ahead and takes a look at the opposite side. And the first thing we find is Charlock Castle, the final dungeon here, right on the other side of Swamp Cave. Thilotilo going to take a brief look around, runs through a wyvern, a perfect target for his sleep perk combo.
And we see Xarnax is going up well over the amount he would have needed, even if he did not have Erdrick's sword, in order to purchase both the magic armor and a silver shield, along with a flame sword. I believe what Xarnax is going for here is there's some rough enemies here in the grave, so he may be getting enough gold so that once he can either A, get out, or if he were to die on the way out, will still have enough to pick up a magic armor and silver shield.
That is correct. And Z-Man, just to catch you up briefly here, this has been a wild start. I can't even name all the things that have happened so far in this tournament. Thilotilo takes a death, going to go back with his brief experience lead. But just to catch up really quick, we did have the return spell at the start of the match, and Xarnax using the return spell to go ahead and check out the Treasury. Did find Erdrick's sword in there, did a whole bunch of crazy stuff that I'm not even going to try to recount here to lead us to the point that we're at. But unfortunately, Thilotilo, I'm not sure if he didn't cast return or if he just bought more keys or what exactly he did, but he does not have access to the sword yet. Rimbledar is just to the south, past a bunch of intimidating swamp. Thilotilo could go down there and buy keys at any time if he just chooses to head in that direction, but for now is content to use this sleep perk combo to get as much experience points as he can, and Xarnax, it's level 7.
No HP on that level, though.
And yeah, Xarnax still with the gold grind active. Gonna go ahead and try to finish diving the grave here. Picked up a sword Magidrak. Not sure what that actually turned out to be, but is going to go ahead and try to head down and pick up this last chest before, I imagine, taking an intentional death.
It looks like that sword Magidrak was the silver harp. So one of our key items has finally been found.
Alrighty, so the grave a required location. It is required to dive the grave in its full, and it could be even more required here as he makes his way down to the final chest. And picking up these wolf lords on the way, I'm a little surprised he's not healing up. I imagine, no, he's not going to spend any MP at all. I'm a little surprised that he wouldn't want to heal up and potentially take out more wolf lords, is choosing instead to actually be just a little bit more efficient and heals outside of battle instead. Heads up play from Xarnax.
And speaking of plays, we actually see Thilotilo teetering there on overtaking the experience lead, and a broadsword being picked up. Of course, that is not a broadsword. Looks like it is actually the Stones of Sunlight. So grave required for 2 here.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 items already found. These are required items in order to finish the game. So the grave will be a necessary stop for Thilotilo, and not just the grave itself, but every single chest is going to be very important here. He's going to want to get that gold grind going at some point. He's going to need that the stones and the heart. So very, very important, the grave in this particular seed.
And we see Thilotilo picking up a dragon scale. Not sure if he actually donned the scale of the dragon, but did purchase one. That does, of course, give you a 2 defense power increase. May not seem like much, but when you start adding defense power up, it can definitely be useful.
Absolutely, and Thilotilo with that small shield and dragon scale purchase is going to slightly overtake Xarnax in terms of defense power, which is only going to continue to help him as he tries to utilize these hurt and sleep strategies. And unfortunately, he's going to take his chances against this wyvern, but it's got a stop spell. His spells were blocked. It's got the baby dragon fire here. Usually not too much of a threat, but going to go ahead and take Thilotilo out. Very, very unfortunate for Thilotilo.
And there is a golem for Xarnax.
Dear.
Wow. Well, that'll give him his death warp he was looking for, and Dragon Lord 2 Breath, along with the immense strength and defense that golems come with as well.
And potentially another skill hiding in the background. Let's take a look. Oh dear. 25% heal more hiding behind that DL2 fire. Oh, no, we're not going to be killing any golems today. Alrighty, Thilotilo has finally gone south. He has finally found Rimeldar. He's going to get his keys. This is a huge turning point in this race. Xarnax, though, is going to go ahead and pick up the magic armor and silver shield out of Rimeldar. He has completed his gold grind. He has the best items money can buy. The only way he can improve his equipment is to find Erdrick's armor itself. So it's very nice that Thilotilo has found both Rimeldar and the Jerk, and he's going to be able to get that sword momentarily, but a pretty big lead here for Xarnax.
A little bit of good news on Thilotilo's side, though, is Thilotilo does know where Garenham is, whereas Xarnax has still got to explore to find the location of Garenham first.
That, of course, hinges on whether or not Garenham has anything important inside of it. We have seen the Jerk. We have not seen the Shrine Cave, so that could be in the back. We have also not seen the token, which could potentially be in a treasure chest in the back of Garenham, but odds of Garenham being required are starting to look potentially slim.
So far, with all of the chests that we have seen open, though, I don't believe we've seen a cursed belt, which finding cursed belts does denote if there is something to be found in these searchable spots or not. Finding no cursed belts will mean that it is highly likely you will find a item in a chest. And there was, okay, chat letting us know there was a cursed belt in Remolder, so still one more cursed belt left to find to be able to guarantee that all search spots have an item.
Pyromancer noting it might be a little bit before they even find out golems have healed more. Yes, it will likely be a very long time. Xarnax, already knowing that they have the Dragon Lord 2 breath, really not going to want to fight golems for in the near future, if ever. And so, yeah, when once Tila sees that he's most likely going to get a dose of Dragon Lord 2 breath in his face first time he comes across a golem and not going to want to fight them either. That heal more is really just icing on a terrible, terrible cake. And Xarnax going to go ahead and take out a wizard here. The wizard looked like it tried to drop the sleep spell on him, and that is the only thing that it can do, is put you to sleep and try to tickle you to death. Fortunately, wizards not having a whole lot of strength, very unlikely that they're going to actually do anything. Could potentially stop a runner in their tracks in the early goings, but when we hit Charlock at the end game, if we see wizards there, they're going to be nothing more than speed bump.
And Xarnax is actually in Garenham, so we will see if the back of Garenham does hold something good or not.
Alrighty, Xarnax making up that informational gap. Gonna go ahead and find another cursed bell. That means every single search spot is guaranteed to have an item. Also picks up that death necklace, a potentially important item towards the end of the seed. And we are going to go ahead and look for what is in this last chest. It is going to be yet another magic key, going to refund the one that he spent to get back here. Thilotilo taking a small experience lead here, getting to level 8 a little bit before Xarnax. Xarnax heads down the stairs and finds bonus cave. I believe that leaves the shrine as the only cave that we have not seen so far, hiding somewhere on that map.
Have we actually seen Mountain Cave yet?
Good point. No, I do not believe we have. And chat noting that there was an absolutely ginormous level on Tilotilo's side, 15 power, 11 agility, 17 HP, and was that 1 MP? The 1 MP a little bit lacking, but everything else just exploding in Tilotilo's direction. And that 69 agility is nothing to sneeze at. He is going to be a favorite to run from pretty much everything below Blue Dragons. Not going to have too much of a problem running around on this map, save for AK-47s or fun police.
Oh, and there is that golem for Tilo, and it will go ahead and punch him for quite a bit and send him back home. But that's okay, because that means that Tilo should be accessing that treasury.
Right, and a little unfortunate that Tilo did not get to see the Dragon Lord 2 breath out of the golem. He may try to fight one later if he sees one, knowing he's got Erdrick's sword in his back pocket. It's potential that could be a speed bump for him later if he tries to fight one and only learns later that they have that Dragon Lord 2 fire.
And Xarnax actually going to do some exploration on the other continent. We see it has Charlock. There is a couple of other things still left to find, and one of those things is going to be a town we see just in the upper left corner. We have yet to find Cantlin. Oh, no, that was just some shore we were seeing. We've yet to find Cantlin, we've yet to find Hawksness, and we still have a couple of caves left to find as well.
That is true, and wow, a little bit of bad RNG on Xarnax's side here as he tries to run from the golem, gets blocked, takes the DL2 breath to the face, and gets a free ticket punched straight back to start.
Well, we thought we were going to see a little of that other continent, but I guess not. And a good point being made in chat. Xarnax's defense with having the silver shield and magic armor at level 8 so far is already up to 80, which is actually allowing him to defense break a few enemies, including wizards right now. And by defense breaking, what this means is when your defense points are the same or higher than an enemy's strength, a different attack range is calculated, resulting in less damage, which in some cases can cause the enemies to just completely miss you and do no damage at all. And we see a bamboo pole being found by Thilotilo, grabbing a bunch of keys, a fairy water, and almost getting to start a gold grind. But unfortunately for Thilotilo, that was the first chest opened. The gold glitch did not start until after, but does pick up quite a few extra fairy waters here.
Yes, he does. And while he's doing that, Xarnax, looking like I think he's heading kind of in the direction that Garanham was in, if I'm not mistaken. Looking like he's heading a bit south and east. Going to find a town here that we have not seen yet, and it's going to be Cantlin. And so with all the items he could want, he's not going to bother checking the shops. He's headed straight down to an old man who is imprisoned behind, I don't know if you want to call them electric tiles or broken glass. Everyone's got a different theory as to what that stuff actually is. All we know is that it hurts to walk on. But with that heal more spell in his back pocket, Xarnax going to have no problem making his way to this old man. He's going to get a series of coordinates. These coordinates are going to lead a spot to the world map. We know, because of the cursed belts that have been found so far in the seed, that those coordinates are going to lead to either the fairy flutes, the armor, or the token. 3 east, 1 south? That's trivial. He's going to go ahead and grab Erdrick's token.
Wow, those coordinates, it just doesn't get any easier. I mean, unless it's right there on the cat.
Right there on the castle is the only way that could get easier. Xarnax now has all 3 of the required items, just needs to find the required location. Really, the only thing left for Xarnax to do at this point is to find the Shrine Cave and Erdrick's armor, which we know now is either going to be in Hawksnest or Cole. I can't deal with chat right now. You guys are amazing.
Yeah, we would have thought that that Erdrick, when he went and hid these mystical items, he would have put them someplace safe, but he just pitched that token right off the top of Tantagel Castle, it would seem, and it's fine. It's this is fine.
He said, I worked way too hard for this the first time. I'm going to make it real easy this time. Just go get the damn thing.
Well, one thing's for sure, we will not be rescuing the princess, as normally the princess is quite handy, aside from telling you how many experience you need to the next level, which, well, we really don't need to know that, because we can figure that out on our own. She will also tell you where you are in relation to her or Tantagel Castle, allowing you to use her as a GPS, or as we have dubbed her, the Guilin positioning system, in order to find that item on the world map. But in this case, she's just going to stay in her lovely little penthouse suite in the Swamp Cave.
Absolutely. And now, interesting thing to point out here, obviously we do have some divergent strategies. Thilotilo a little bit late finding the sword, going to be a little bit late potentially his gold grind here. Will most likely do one as soon as he takes his death here in the grave, but actually has an experience lead. Well, Xarnax has been collecting all the information that he's gotten, hasn't maybe been killing quite as many things along the way as Thilotilo has, but Thilotilo catching up quickly here. He's got the harp, he's got the stones, and again, he is very likely going to be able to take... Smashy's saying Tilo can't gold grind, so he must have opened up all the gold chests that were available to him at this point. So he is going to need to exit and restart in order to do that, and given that he's already seen a silver shield, I imagine he will do that in short order.
And Golem making sure, once again, that Xarnax holds true to his sprite and becomes a ghost and gets sent back to the castle.
Yeah, unfortunately, without Erdrick's armor and only 49 max HP, Thilotilo having the benefit of level 9, giving him 76. But at 49, you are never going to survive a Dragon Lord 2 breath without Erdrick's armor. So that golem, every time he fails to run, every time he gets back attacked, it's going to punch him real hard. And Thilotilo about to get the information here that golems have Dragon Lord 2 fire, making his quick escape out of the grave in the same way that Xarnax did.
And I think Thilotilo doing that a little bit intentionally here as a quicker way of getting out of the grave. And I have to say, looking at Xarnax's defense power as of right now, just on level 9, by the time we get to the levels that we're going to need in order to take on the Dragon Lord, which that could be, as another golem goes ahead and says, back to the castle you go. But once we finally get to a level which could be fairly low, could even be as low as 13, depending on how our stat gains go, it is very possible that Xarnax will be defense breaking almost every enemy found in Charlock, aside from possibly the Armored Knights, the Red Dragons, and the Golems.
Absolutely. Yeah, Beta Strep noting that triple-digit defense is very much a possibility in this seed, very possibly in Xarnax's near future if the agility continues to grow here. 75 agility, magic armor, silver shield. I don't know off the top of my head how much of a boost Erdrick's armor will give over the magic, but yeah, the defense power is only going to continue to grow from here.
And Thilotilo able to take one Dragon Lord breath, but could not survive a second round against that golem. So that is one benefit that huge HP boost did give, is some more survivability against those Dragon Lord breaths, but still just not letting our runners get.
Yeah, worth noting right now, Xarnax is actually defense breaking everything that does not appear in Charlock. Of course, excepting that golem, who again is going to back attack him. Not quite going to send him back to start, only going to punch him in the face. But I'm sure that gave a little bit of a jump start to Xarnax, saying, no, please, not again.
And thankfully for Xarnax, just a punch to the face, not a fire breath. As though those fire breaths, depending on if you're at full HP or not, will still almost certainly send you back.
Question in chat from Wolf Kupo. As someone who's never seen a Dragon Warrior 1 rando before, what is required to finish the game? Well, as for what is absolutely required by the game itself, they are, as you can see on the tracker here, there are several items in the inventories of both players. The required items are the Silver Harp, which you will later trade in for the Staff of Rain, the Stones of Sunlight, and Erdrick's Token. When you have all three of those items together, you can go talk to an old man who will trade them in for the Rainbow Drop. What the Rainbow Drop is going to let you do is it's going to let you form a bridge to access the final dungeon. That is how you get inside to access the final boss and win the game. As for what's required to actually have a feasible chance to win the game, those items include Erdrick's Sword, which is possessed by both players, Erdrick's Armor, which is going to be somewhere on the map, and then optional shield, as we have a silver shield here on Xarnax's side, the best one in the game, small shield on Tilotilo's side, the worst one in the game, but still a beneficial point of defense nonetheless. The other thing that is sometimes required and sometimes fished for at the very end of these Dragon Warrior Randomizer seeds is the spell of Heal More, which is more or less required in order to actually beat the game, and is fortunately possessed by both players already. Z-Man, for most of us, yes, but required has air quotes around it if you're Nest Cardinality, or Beta Strap, or Mr. Holmes. They do like to do those equipmentless seeds from time to time.
Oh boy, and our next level on Xarnax's side not being quite as nice as the previous levels. A little bit of a boost on the
Was that the armor?
That was indeed the armor on Tilotilo's side. So no need for magic armor to be purchased. We have the best armor, which is Erdrick's, and we see a large shield in the shop. Not quite enough to purchase it yet, but I believe we'll see Thilotilo picking up that large shield not too long from now.
Alrighty, and some cheers for Thilotilo in chat as he has made some very, very big finds for himself. He picked up Erdrick's armor. That's going to be some information that he has over Xarnax and actually going to be very useful against those fire-breathing golems. But not only that, he picked up the large shield. That is the second best shield in the game, and likely from this point, he will never actually do a gold grind, which is going to give him a little bit of a time advantage over Xarnax, even if it costs him a little bit of defense.
And a bit of a question, has armorless ever happened in a race? We have definitely not seen armorless happen, but we have seen a few people walk directly up to the Dragon Lord and punch him for the win. And of course, by punching him, I mean bare fist, no weapon purchased at all.
That would be a pretty exciting finish to watch for sure. Thilotilo picking up a little bit of experience here around the coal areas. Xarnax popping back into, I believe that was Cantlin, before heading back over to the Swamp Cave. Going to go ahead and take a peek on the other side. And again, for anyone new to Dragon Warrior 1 or Dragon Warrior Randomizer, as soon as Xarnax gets out to the opposite side of the Swamp Cave on this randomized map, you are going to see Charlock directly to the north. The way you get to recognize Charlock is by seeing, well, no, he's going to go back and grind blue dragons, but the way you recognize Charlock is by looking for those C-shaped series of brick tiles and a moat and a castle in the middle of all of that. That is the final dungeon and the final destination for both of our players here.
And we see Xarnax is actually doing some experience grinding here. Thilotilo is going to go ahead and continue the exploration grind instead, though.
I don't blame Xarnax for doing what he's doing here. He is taking advantage of a pretty big opportunity. He is very, very close to defense breaking these blue dragons. I have to imagine that this is going to be the grind spot of choice for both of these runners when they're in that grind and go mode. We saw the stats flashed up earlier. They are bite and 50% hurt. Once Xarnax hits that magic number of 94, he will have defense power higher than the blue dragon's attack power, which means they'll be doing something in the range of 0 to 14 damage. Yes, I said 0. They will have a chance to miss as soon as Xarnax hits 86 defense points.
You were saying there, he is now at 87, so things are going to be getting pretty interesting for Xarnax.
And yeah, up to NG, I'm going to go ahead and echo Lorgon's comments from chat. The first 10 or 20 minutes out of Xarnax showed strategies that I have never seen in a Dragon Warrior Randomizer race, period. Yeah, anyone who is active in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer community and missed the first 10 or 20 minutes of this race, required viewing as far as I'm concerned.
I don't foresee us seeing any strategies like that again in the near future either.
I have to say, Xarnax made a pretty big case for himself making those interesting checks. I don't know if it necessarily gave him an advantage, but it was interesting.
And Thilotilo going toe-to-toe with an armored knight does manage to take it down, so we'll be rewarded with 172 experience and runs directly into a... We still have a couple of things, however, that we have yet to find. Thankfully, we do not need to find Hawksness, as we know from the armor being found by Thilotilo, the token being picked up by Xarnax, that all that will be found in Hawksness will be a flute. But with the golems we've been seeing, that fairy flute could actually be a very worthwhile item to pick up. With golems having the Dragonlord Breath, that does quite a bit of damage, even with having Erdrick's armor, which gives you a ton of benefits. Not only does it have a huge defense boost over any of the other armors aside from the magic armor, you also gain 1 HP for every step that you take. You can no longer be stop spelled, but you can still be sleeped, unfortunately. And it also reduces the hurt more, dragon breath, and dragon lord breath by 1/3, so that 70 plus damage you were seeing before gets reduced to only being able to do 42, 44, 46, or 48.
Yeah, and question in chat from Selfless Scoundrel. What are the pluses next to the strengthened HP? That denotes the build that these players are running. Strengthened HP build means their strengthened HP are going to be about 10% higher than the other stats. And will the players have different level up stats based on different names? Yes, they will. They do have the Z and the lowercase t do correspond to that strength and HP, so they are running the same build. But if they had a different name, yes, they would be having different stats towards the end. And MTI very happy with the 0 agility at level 12. Unfortunately, Xarnax gonna have to wait a little bit longer to defense break any new monsters just yet.
But we do get to see there is quite a bit of strength in the future, though, as 78 is what Xarnax is up to now at level 12. And Thilotilo getting to see those so much loved coordinates of 3 south, 1 west, will be picking up a token of their own very soon. And he does actually have enough gold to pick up a large shield. Don't know if Thilotilo is familiar with where the location of the town of Cole was, where that large shield was found, and I think we have just found the mountain cave on Tilotilo's side. Will not be needed, though, other than for a fighter's ring, as everything else has already been found.
Alrighty, gonna pop into a cave, and there was another town there. Oh, finds the Shrine Cave, another critical point of information for Thilotilo, extending that information lead, even if he's at an experience disadvantage. He's got the Staff of Rain, he knows where the jerk is, he knows where the token is. As soon as he grabs the token, he can pull the rainbow drop out, and he will be the first to have Charlock access among all of our runners. And he's got a town here.
And by process of elimination, that town that we see on the horizon for Thilotilo is going to be Hawksness. And I have to imagine, no matter what the enemy is there, even if it is a golem, that Thilotilo will take it out, knowing that it could either potentially be the token, or even if it is the flute, with how nasty those golems have been, that will still be a very handy item. If it happens to be Axe Knights, then Thilotilo will probably take a little bit of a grind here before going back to the castle to pick up that token.
Question in chat from Focal Point UK. What's the Jerk Dungeon? That's a little bit of a nickname here in the Dragon Warrior Randomizer community for a cave that we will be seeing on screen momentarily. Jerk Dungeon. Oh, Cole found for Xarnax. He's going to go ahead and pick up his Erdrick's armor. But continue the explanation. There is a cave here that has an old man in it who, if you have the token, the Staff of Rain, and the Stone Sunlight, will take all 3 of those items in exchange for the Rainbow Drop, or an item required to beat the game. However, if you do not have the token and you talk to the old man, he says that you have failed in your quest and boots you out of the cave entirely, hence the nickname the Jerk.
And Thilotilo does pick up his fairy flute, and fortunately for Thilotilo, it is indeed an Axe Knight, which means that he is going to do a little bit of a grind here. Actually ran away from the Axe Knight there, not too sure as to why, perhaps a missed menu, but a quick and easy 130 experience for each one of these Axe Knights that he takes down.
Absolutely, although I hope that he's going to take the one out. He does do that here, and he definitely can't grind it. He did go ahead and pick up that flute, and I gotta say it's a little bit unfortunate because he really needs to go get that token. He doesn't know yet that it's a blue dragon in the swamp cave, which is going to be the much more attractive grind option. So the longer he stays here, and especially Xarnax really just hanging out here for days in this swamp cave, the experience lead is only going to grow.
And we see the Axe Knight having heal more and quite proficient at casting it. It will be a very inefficient grind for Thilotilo. at least until level 12, which we see on Xarnax's side does have stop spell. If he can land the stop spell, will stop the heal mores from the Axe Knight, but still not nearly as efficient as having a blue dragon as we see on Xarnax's side.
Question in chat, do enemies have MP? As far as I know, they do, but yeah, okay, yeah, Lord Gun confirming it's infinite.
And the original Dragon Warrior enemies MP is infinite. I believe it was not until Dragon Warrior 4, maybe even 3, that enemies started actually having an MP count. We do have a, I would say, possibly resident expert in all things Dragon Warrior here. Perhaps High Spirits could answer that question for us. And there he goes there, along with MTI, both agreeing that 3 does have MP. So it is 3 that starts enemies with MP. And that is the token for Thilotilo, as Xarnax has chosen to stop their grind at level 13 and is going to go ahead and try breaking out to find the last few remaining things. Number 1 being the Staff of Rain Cave to pick up his staff, and potentially find the flute, because as we've seen, those golems are not fun to play with.
So now that Thilotilo has left Hawksnest and traded in for that rainbow drop, question in chat, what now for Thilotilo? I would at least go check the Swamp Cave tile, and I think he's going to be very happy with what he finds there when he does. First, going to make a pit stop in Rimmildar to check for a large shield. Unfortunately, there is not one there. He will, I think, have to go back to Garenham for that.
If there wasn't one in Garenham, if he can remember how to get back to Cole, we did for sure see a large shield there as well.
Yeah, and as Chad is kind of speculating on what our runners do next in terms of their next move, looking at all the things that are happening here, Xarnax has the armor, has yet to find the Shrine Cave, so that is the only advantage that Thilotilo holds over Xarnax at this time. Whereas, of course, Xarnax, you can see plainly on your screen, has a pretty massive experience advantage, and so Thilotilo kind of needs Xarnax to not find that Shrine Cave as soon as possible, but if Xarnax finds it within the next few minutes, this race, I would say, is his to lose.
Oh, and it looks like Tilo is actually going to go back to Hawksnest for the grind in Hawksnest. Not going to be the best grind right now, at least not until Hurtmore shows up, where you can possibly one-shot a Axe Knight.
Very unfortunate. He will, fortunately, once he takes... Yeah, he's definitely hoping Hurtmore is coming. He may be a little bit bummed to see that he's only going to get Stop Spell when he sees that spell notification, but Stop Spell will be useful, as we have Sparkover, a well-known name in the Dragon Warrior community, rating us with a party of 25. Throw those bears out in chat if you got them.
And actually, with that 16 strength increase for Thilotilo, 2 hits can indeed actually take out an Axe Knight before it is likely to be able to use a heal more. That being because in order to actually use that 75% chance of heal more, the Axe Knight needs to be reduced down to 25% or lower of its health. Otherwise, it will not even roll for that heal more chance.
That's a good point to make, and yeah, with him swinging in the 20s and 30s, it's actually very unlikely that they're going to hit that 25% mark without actually just keeling over and dying. So this actually could turn out to be a decent grind spot for Thilotilo based on the 118 attack power alone. And so again, we're in the situation where the longer it takes for Xarnax to locate this shrine cave, the more that Thilotilo gets to cut into this experience lead, and he does so with a Kaishin no Ichigeki, taking out that Axe Knight before it has a chance to heal.
I think with one, maybe two more levels here on this Axe Knight, we did see it did have a chance to get one heal more off there, as Tila had a bit of a low roll. We see that low roll again of 21, which did allow the Axe Knight to have a chance to heal. So sometimes not always a 2-shot, sometimes it is a 3-shot, as Xarnax does find the shrine that holds the Staff of Rain.
And there it is. So I imagine Xarnax is immediately going to go and pick up that rainbow drop and then head right back to that swamp cave. And then we're going to see something interesting here. Because here's the thing. Thilotilo is using Erdrick's can opener to cut through these Axe Knights with reckless abandon. And this actually could turn out to be a slightly more efficient grind spot. I'm going to have to run the numbers a little bit, and I definitely am going to do so. This is going to be a very interesting battle of grind spots. Xarnax probably going to... I don't think he's even seen Hawk's Nest, doesn't even want to see Hawk's Nest, knows it's a fairy flute there. And so he's probably going to go right back to the Swamp Cave and fight Blue Dragons. And it's going to be the battle of which grind spot turns out to actually be better.
And looking over on Tilotilo's side, we know Hurt More is not at 13, but if it is at 14, that Hurt More can and will often take out a Axe Knight with one shot, making it a much more efficient grind for Thilotilo. But the thing that Xarnax is going to have to his benefit is there is Garnham right there with an inn, whereas there's not an inn very close to Thilotilo for recovery here.
Yeah, that was a good point to think about, because again, if Thilotilo does get hurt more on this next level, he is going to want to use it on the Axe Knights, and unfortunately, without a place to refill his MP, may either just choose to keep chopping him down and just save the MP for heal mores between battles. But here we go. 500 experience points thereabouts, split Thilotilo and Xarnax42. Both of them have... Actually, Xarnax, I don't believe Witten got the rainbow drop just yet. So he's got one more little side trip he needs to make before going back to Charlock. So Thilotilo has the drop. Xarnax needs to get it. Other than that, it is a race to get Dragon Lord ready.
The funny thing here is for Xarnax, he would actually be defense breaking these Axe Knights, I believe. So it would actually be a much more efficient grind had he actually seen Hawk's Nest to be able to go and get these Axe Knights.
That is absolutely true. And of course, as we talked about before, yet another factor that could affect this grind is if Xarnax, if he can get probably about, I'd say 6 more, not even 6 more. If he can get even 2 more agility on this next level, he will be defense breaking Blue Dragons, and he can sit there till the cows come home. They won't even be able to scratch him. Bobski asking about the average damage that they're going to do here. So based on these stats, it looks like Xarnax should be able to 2 or 3 shot the Blue Dragons, and Axe heal more. If it heal mores, it would probably also take about 3 or 4 hits on average, but if it doesn't heal more, it should be a 2-shot. And level 14 coming through for Xarnax, he got the agility boost, he got a huge power boost, 141, does not like the HP, not at 97 yet, but that strength is more than enough to go and take on the Dragon Lord as soon as he gets the HP. The defense power is allowing him to defense break the Blue Dragons. He's going to be just slicing through them like a maelstrom on his way to that final level that's going to make him Charlock ready.
So I have to say, this is a bit of an interesting turn of events. Typically, we're grinding away at levels in order to get the strength to have the attack power we need in order to go up against the Dragon Lord, which the minimum that we usually like to see is about 130. But in this case, we're actually going to be having to grind for HP and MP, as 89 HP is not going to be enough to survive 2 full-powered Dragonlord breaths of 48 damage each. And the MP count, we do have 10 heal mores, which actually with that attack power might be enough, as right now, looking at 141 attack power, we can calculate how much damage we will do to the Dragonlord 2. We do that by taking 100 right off the top, and then you divide by 2. That's going to give your maximum, which right now is 20. Then you divide that in half again, and that gives you the minimum of 10, meaning we can do 10 to 20 damage, averaging 15 to Dragon Lord.
And for those not familiar with Dragon Warrior Randomizer, I put the math there in chat. I left out a little bit of it. So basically what you want to do is looking at Xarnax's stats, you take that 141 attack power, chop 100 off from it right there to account for Dragon Lord 2's defense. You wind up with 41. You divide that in half and drop the remainder for 20. And then you drop that in half again for 10. That's your range. And then you got the rest of the math there. That 15 times 12. Right now, Xarnax is sitting on 10 heal mores, and we generally account for 1 extra attack at the start and 1 extra attack at the very end of the Dragon Lord fight to get 12 attacks total if he makes it down with all of his heal mores for a 180 average expected damage against Dragon Lord 2. Dragon Lord 2 in Randomizer can spawn with anywhere from 150 to 165 HP. So doing that math, once he gets to that 97 HP total that you generally want to have before you go fight the Dragon Lord, he is pretty much a lock to win. That having been said, there are a few Charlock monsters we have yet to see. I don't believe we've seen any Fun Police. I don't believe we've seen much of the AK-47s, as Thilotilo gets the news that 14 was a pretty big one. And so there is some potential for speed bumps along the way in Charlock, and we have Xarnax. He is at 1 hour and barely off 7 minutes. He is going to be the first one to enter Charlock Castle. He's going to do a dive. He may want to fight down and see if he can pick up that extra HP on the way.
And regarding some of the tougher enemies in Charlock, we actually did see Thilotilo took down a couple of the armored knights, affectionately dubbed the AK-47, as they are quite punchy and deal quite a bit of damage. But we have not seen, to my knowledge, any red dragons, which we have affectionately dubbed the fun police, as typically when you run into a red dragon, the fun stops. And they do send you packing quite quickly back home.
Absolutely. Xarnax making short work of a Star Wyvern, and we're going to go ahead and throw those stats up there. They do have 25% chance cast a Hurt More spell, and the rest of the time they just peck at you with their beaks. And so not going to be too much of a threat here to Xarnax, with his Airdrix armor mitigating that damage, and all of the other bonuses he has defense breaking it. So really the only threat there is if it does a bunch of heal mores in a row, but it's not likely to survive.
And here's a green dragon, which I don't believe we have seen green dragons yet. Not much of a threat, though. Easily 2-shot. And we do get a little bit of a look at their stats there. 25% sleep, 25% chance to hurt. So a little bit of a sleep block. And there is those red dragons who also have the spell of hurts. And they look like they like casting it, so likely 50% or better.
Alrighty, yes, green dragons we see on screen providing a little bit of a speed bump, and red dragons potentially a little bit of a speed bump there as well. A very welcome sight here for Xarnax, as his defense power is going to make those bites hurt a little bit less if they do choose to bite at all, having to roll past that 75% hurt chance first. So Xarnax is going to have absolutely no problem picking up this level as he makes his dive, holding on to all of his heal mores. Going to go ahead and pop an Erg here, but sitting at 51 with all the defense power he has, he is not too worried about dying anytime soon.
And for those who are not familiar how the AI of enemies work, they take a look at their abilities, which they can have 2 abilities aside from fight, and those abilities will either be one of sleep, heal, Heal More, or Stop Spell. And then the second abilities they can have will be one of either Hurt More, Dragon Breath, or Dragon Lord 2 Breath. Now, when we look at those, the Sleep Stop Spell is rolled first, and it will take into that count of either 25, 50, or 75% chance. If that roll fails, then it goes on to ability number 2, which will be the Hurt More, Dragon Lord Breath, and Dragon Breath. 25, 50, and 75% chance on that one. If that roll fails, then they default back to their normal physical attack. Now, if they don't have either Sleep or Stop Spell, and instead they have Heal or Heal More, they will only attempt to roll for that skill if they are at 25% or less of their max HP, in which case they will then roll to heal themselves.
Absolutely. As we continue to watch Xarnax make his descent through Charlock Castle, he quickly dispatches a green dragon. He is very close to that 7,500 experience mark, at which point we will know, does he make the 4 to 5% roll for double-digit HP in order to be Dragon Lord ready? If he does, we could see the end. We could see the victor of this race in the next few minutes. If he does not, we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer. He runs into a wizard. The wizard puts him to sleep. The wizard's gonna try to tickle him to death. It's probably not gonna work. And indeed, it does not. Oh, he tries to take out the green dragon with an excellent move, but gets met with the Kaisha Negata instead. However, that's not going to stop him for very long. He's going to take out the green dragon. He is going to get his level. We are going to see, is he Dragon Lord ready right now or not? First, he's going to get 6 power. He's going to get 2. He's going to get 19 hit points and 5 MP. He is going to get the Hurt More spell, which Thilotilo was hoping for a while ago. But with that 16 or 18 or 19 or whatever HP he just got, he is Dragon Lord ready. And folks, this is all but over. Only a lightning bolt, a power outage, or a controller error could stop Xarnax from taking this victory.
And Thilotilo one enemy away, and he goes ahead and takes that Kaishin against the Axe Knight, gets his level 15, is going to be very happy to see those stats, and I think we'll be seeing a quick heal up and go for Thilotilo here, or possibly a death ward. And the Axe Knight will oblige.
Absolutely. Thilotilo knows this is go mode. He's going to have to make this dive with haste. And again, Xarnax is going to very casually make his way through track Charlock here at the very bottom, making his way around the first turn, going to make his way around the second turn, going to be stopped by a green dragon as he makes his way around the third corner. Going to have to walk through a few desert tiles here, a few more encounters. The denizens of Charlock hopelessly trying with all of their might to hold the unstoppable force away from the immovable object of the Dragon Lord.
Now we do actually still have one big key factor that could go against Xarnax here, and that is going to be whoever is guarding the Dragon Lord on the spike tile here that he's about to run into, and Thilotilo actually going to go pick up a large shield before making the trek down into Charlock as well, it looks like.
Xarnax making his way onto his spike tile. It's a Stone Man. I'm not sure if we know exactly what Stone Man has. Xarnax was thinking about putting it to sleep, putting those DWR reflexes to work, but holding off, realizing he only has 81 magic, and that would reduce his heal more count to 9. And we see on the stats here that they are fight, and fight, using both of those fists to try to take Xarnax out. It was unsuccessful. He's going to walk up to the Dragon Lord. He's going to use probably a single herb. No, he's going to go ahead and use 2. He's going to go up to pretty much full. He's going to start his Dragon Lord fight. Dragon Lord will offer half the world, and of course, Xarnax will say no. He will avoid the soft lock, and he will be the first to start Dragon Lord 1.
And we have a bit of a hefty Dragon Lord throwing punches and hurt mores. But he goes down rather easy after a quick after a quick try at Stop Spell.
And with that try of stop spell, we do see the second form of the Dragon Lord, and I believe we started off with a nice big 23 from Xarnax. No back attack today, and followed up by a 12, hitting basically for his max and his minimum back to back, going up to 35 damage here. Swing again right in the middle for a 20 to take him up to 55. Going to go ahead and throw a heal mark here at 47. And again, this is pretty much a lock. 16 damage is going to get him up to 71. Chad is counting along with us. He did 13 damage, up to 84. Going to go ahead and heal again. A 20 comes in, brings him up to 104, chipping away at Dragon Lord 2's hit points. He can have anywhere from 150 to 165. What will it be today? It probably does not much matter.
And at this point, with the damage that Xarnax has done, I do not think it's possible, barring a missed menu, for him to lose to the Dragon Lord at this point.
Should do it here. He's about 130, does 16, probably in the 140 to low 150 range. And yeah, he is pretty much an input error lock to win this battle. Could do it right here. Swings for 17, and yes, he's done it. Break out your GGs in chat, folks, for your winner. Xarnax will move on to 1-1 in the 2019 Dragon Warrior Randomizer tournaments. Just a few formalities here. He's going to cast a return. He's going to walk up to and into Tantajal Castle. He's going to go ahead and talk to the king. He's going to go ahead and throw in that done. And yes, that is official. Xarnax has finished in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 0 seconds. Xarnax is now 1-1. Thilotilo, unfortunately, 0-2. And yes, I am waiting with bated breath, as is anyone who is here for the first 10 minutes of this match, for this interview with Xarnax. I cannot wait to hear what he has to say about the choices that he made at the start of this match. Yeah, Xarnax is going to hold us in suspense for a little bit on that interview while he waits for Thilotilo to finish. Thilotilo has thrown out the GG, and we know, of course, with Thilotilo in stereo now on our stream, he's got that a couple of extra heals in his pocket if he wants them. He's got some sleeps if he wants to use them against the Stone Man that he's about to fight. But other than that, he is pretty much a lock to finish within the next few minutes. Duran asks, where can you get this version of the game? And CD Improv drops that DWR command, which brings up the link to the download link, the tournament standings on the Dragon Warrior Discord. Anyone who has been watching this action today and would like to get in on Dragon Warrior Randomizer, please feel free to join the Discord. You can ask any questions you like. You can get in on casual races. You can sign up for, you can watch for next year's tournament to happen. And we do have, in addition to the tournament, we did start a Dragon Warrior League last year, I believe, in the earlier months around January and February. So there is that action to come in a few months as well. So this is a great time to join the community if you would like. Once again, Thilotilo whirling his way. He has taken out the Stone Man. That's the wizard puts him to sleep. The denizens of Charlock once again doing their best to hold back the force of nature that is Thilotilo, but they have failed. Thilotilo is a fool, and he is going to go ahead and start this Dragon Lord 1 fight. It is going to be very trivial at best, doing a 32 to start off, taking a hurt more. Going to go ahead and swing again, dropping another 33, taking another hurt more. Probably going to go ahead and use an herb here. No, opts to use the heal more. Knows he's most likely not going to need it in Dragon Lord 2. Going to go ahead and take a punch to the face. He would be defense breaking if he had a silver shield. Does not. Takes 22 to the face. Takes out Dragon Lord 1. Moves on to the second fight. Does he get back attack? No. He is going to go ahead and start this off with a, oh, maybe not. I thought he was going to start off with a double. This might actually be a little bit dicey depending on his roll, starting off with a 23. And no 12 next. We are not in an RNG loop. This is not Groundhog Day. He does drop the 18 to go up to 41. Goes ahead and throws out the heal more. Takes 33. Goes ahead and swings for max damage again. Going to go up to 64 damage. Dragon Lord bites for 26. Takes 13 in exchange. And unfortunately, I've lost my count. I believe he's somewhere around the 80s. But continuing to chip away at this HP. I don't believe we got the final HP count for Dragon Lord 2 in this particular seed. But again, barring an input error or insanely low rolls, he should be a lock to finish this fight here in the next few minutes. Swinging right for the median of his attack power, throwing out an 18. Most likely has crested that 3-digit mark in terms of damage, dropping a 14. And yes, he's done it. Break out your GGs in chat, folks, as our runner-up here, Thilotilo, has finished in second place. He has already done the formalities. He has dropped the dot down in chat. Thilotilo has finished in second place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 21 minutes, and 13 seconds. And I imagine we are going to get both of them here very shortly in the caster's booth for what is to be one of the most interesting interviews we're likely to have in a long time. And no, Thilotilo going to keep us in suspense for a little bit longer. He wants to grab some water first, and I don't blame him. That was not exactly a jet seat in terms of finish times, but definitely a sprint of a race. Duran, it's okay to download this and play it online. As far as I know, I don't want to speak to the legality of ROMs and emulation in this day and age, but we've been running this community for 4 years with no problems so far. So I would say that's as much of a green light as you'll ever get to go ahead and join our community and get involved in the action. And see the improv drop in the commentary commands. Yes, please go ahead and drop a follow on my co-commentator, RyuSeishin. Big shout-outs to our restreamer, The Amused Miniature, and our tracker, Smashy, as well as myself, lavkian, each of us, again, seasoned veterans within the Dragon Warrior Randomizer community. And of course, please drop a follow on our runners who put on a wonderful show for you here today. Xarnax42, a seasoned veteran of randomizers, Dragon Warrior, Zelda 1, and Zelda 2, and Thilotilo sticking with Dragon Warrior Randomizer himself. But again, they put a great show on for you today. Go ahead and drop them a follow. Thank you, Shinkaido, for being here in chat. And with that ding, it looks like, yes, we should have both of our runners here in chat with us. Thilotilo, congratulations. But Xarnax, I am going to give the floor to you. I need to know what was going through your mind in the first 10 minutes of that seed. There were a lot of people here who missed it. Please walk us through the first 10 minutes. What was going on in your mind?
This race was nuts. So what they're talking about, Tilo, as soon as I found, I'm trying to remember what the order of things were. I found Erdrick's sword. I used the wings, got out, killed a thing or two, and then checked the treasury. Found Erdrick's sword, then killed a few more things, and then the next time I died, I saved, I reset, and I started a new file. This was a huge mistake that really I was concerned about. I didn't name the file Z, because all I wanted to do was use the key and see what was in the basement of Tanagel. And it ended up, when I found the key, I was like, well, I can get the sword and have keys, so I'm going to keep playing. And then eventually I realized like my name was A and I didn't know what my strat growth was going to be. And so then as soon as I found Rimildar, I was like, oh, I can have keys and Erdrick Sword and BZ if I go back to my first file. So that was a tough decision because I had made more progress on the A file, but I figured I didn't lose a level's worth, and the odds of needing an extra level from the name was high enough that I've reverted back to the first file. But so because of all that, I felt very behind the entire race, especially
Angel
as things,
FM, Angel
especially as
FM
things
dropping
unfolded very quickly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And there's definitely a little bit more to talk about there as well. Angel FM dropping the lull in chat and saying he's laughing so hard. Believe me, we were too here in the caster's booth watching the shenanigans with the saving and reloading of files here. We were kind of contemplating whether or not that name was a mistake up here in the commentator's booth. For the record, it was an HP empty build, which if you had kept going with, would have been a pretty big factor, as it would have dropped your attack power a little bit, although might have actually let you go fight the Dragon Lord a little bit sooner, given that the attack power was so high. You would have crested that HP barrier a little bit sooner. But yeah, heads up play there, recognizing the fact that Rimildar meant you could just easily go back to your initial Z save and continue on from there. Anything else you'd like to mention in that starting zone before we hand it off to Thilotilo?
No, I don't think so. Just, yeah, definitely the most unorthodox start I have ever had. And I don't think I said GG to Tilo, so GG, man. It was
GG to Xarnax.
I was
It was not GG for me.
I figured it kind of had to have something go wrong for me to be able to pull that one out. I was definitely sweating the whole time.
I made a massive rookie mistake, and completely ignored the fact that we had returned. So I had to grind the first 2 levels at 4 and 5 strength, and then went off on my merry way, found a copper sword at Garanham eventually, blah blah blah, got keys, finally got the sword about 30 minutes in.
Yikes. I'm sure you felt pretty behind at that point.
Yeah, I felt everything that happened. I was really it's, you just can't recover from something like that on a seed like this. If we'd gotten those massive strength gains beforehand, fine, but when I'm, and it takes me, I don't know, 15, 16 minutes in to get to level 3, it's like, that's not a promising start when Erdrick Sword was in the Treasury.
I will say, Tilo, in your defense, having the advantage of being up here in the caster's booth, yes, it was an unfortunately unorthodox start from both of you. Obviously, advantage to Xarnax having that information in Erdrick's Sword, but I gotta say, if you watch this race back, it was closer than you might have thought, because one of the things I noticed you doing early on, once you got off the ground and started getting into the level 4, 5, and 6 range, you were making extremely good usage of the sleep and hurt combination. I saw you taking out Wolf Lords, I saw you taking out Wyverns, maybe a few Troll Magi's here in the mix as well. You are keeping up with inexperience to some degree with Xarnax. So my hat's off to you for making what easily could have been, you mentioned that rookie mistake was very unfortunate. That could have made this race uncompetitive as all get out, but it was actually very competitive for the most part because of those heads-up plays where you were making the maximum usage of what you had available to you.
Yeah, I actually felt really good about some of that grinding I was doing, feeling like I was going to get really, like, okay, this is going to work really well for me. And then, of course, the swords in the Treasury, and you're like, well, GG, but...
Man, I will say, I had an impossible time finding anywhere to grind. Every single zone had something that could kill you. And I spent a lot of time walking through just not knowing what to kill. So yeah, hats off to the hurt, finding somewhere to use sleep and hurt and then pulling it off.
Absolutely, my hat's off to you. So, wow, that seed and that finish were such a rush. I'm kind of at a loss for more questions to ask, but maybe Xarnax, if you want to talk a little bit about your experience towards the middle of the seed.
Anything in particular?
Just any thoughts, any particular thoughts that you might have had during your exploration? I know that. Oh, actually, no. I do have a good question to ask. Any thoughts or reactions to those coordinates?
Those were great. I was very happy to not. I was mostly happy to not need. Well, to not need to save the princess and to not need Hawksness, because I still never even found that. Yeah, the mid game, I felt like I may have gotten an advantage checking the swamp tile, because I was at a point where giving at least one blue dragon a try wasn't gonna hurt, and then I found that out that it had hurt, and that turned out into a great place to grind until I got repel.
Yeah, so I found Cantlin right at the end, and Hawkson's was just a little bit east of it, right by the staff cave. I'm kind of, it's almost on the same screen.
Oh,
so,
yeah, the staff cave was the very last thing I found.
So so Hawkson's had the Axe Knight at it, which had heal more, which got obnoxious at times. So I ended up grinding that. I kept thinking, I should go to Swamp Cave just in case there's blue dragons there, because that is the best grind in this seed. But since I didn't know what was there, I just kept going at it. But I think that might have sped me up a little bit. Probably not enough to overcome 5-minute difference. But yeah, that was the Axe Knight grind got really frustrating at times because of the heal more.
And before I ask any other follow-up questions, I do want to mention to any viewers who are still hanging around that if you felt is so inspired to join the community, Mr. Spokes, no, there are no tournament races scheduled tonight, but we do have a room open for a casual race right now. We've got 5 people in, it looks like. And so if anyone out there is looking, maybe some old veterans looking to break into the action again, or anyone who is looking to cut their teeth on Dragon Warrior Randomizer for the first time, your opportunity is right now. Sitting in the SRL channel, we do have a race open. Just wanted to get that out there. Real quick, want to go over a little bit of the some of the mid to late game decisions there. Thilotilo, you did mention the Axe Knight that was located in Hawksness, and I do want to make a little observation. I don't think I ever saw you check the Swamp Cave spike tile.
That's correct.
And so were you just hoping for, I mean, obviously it was less than ideal having those Axe Knights with heal more. Were you just hoping for hurt more? And then when you didn't see it, kind of what was going through your mind from that?
Yeah, that was really kind of it. It's each time. So I went in and I was really close to a level, and I thought, well, maybe this is going to be hurt more. We learned a spell and it was like repel or something. Oh, okay. So then I went ahead and said, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and exhaust my hit points, or go ahead and exhaust myself here. And then when I got to that, I was really close, and I was like, if I get hurt more this next level, maybe that'll open it up for me. So it kept being like, as soon as hurt more happens, it's great. But then again, the other thing is, like you said, I didn't check the spike tile, and it would be such a time loss to go check the spike tile, find out it's, a golem, and then have to go all the way back to Hawksness. It felt like the odds of it turning into something that was better than what I had were small enough that it wasn't worth the potential time sink. It cost me in this seed, but I think statistically it just wasn't worth it when I had something that was at least a moderately efficient grind. And the way our stats worked out, it didn't actually bite us too much, because we went from a little underpowered so that 2 hits wouldn't necessarily put it in heal more range and the 3rd hit would kill it, to overpowered where the first hit, where usually the only way he's going to get a heal more off is the first hit is so powerful it puts him in that 1/4 range. So it was frustrating at points, but all in all it wasn't too awful, although when I was doing the initial grind where the heal more was a little more frequent, we didn't have stop spell yet. That was one of those spells we gained through the process that made a couple of those a little less frustrating.
Absolutely, yeah. It was very interesting. We were noting in chat as well that once you got, I think it was either level 13 or 14, it was making you were making quick work of those Axe Knights. While Xarnax actually started his grind very early, finding that pretty toothless blue dragon in the swamp cave. Xarnax, I think you had something to say.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the late stop spell and late hurt more both make that X Knight sound really unappealing. I don't think I ever killed one at all.
Yeah, I up here in kind of the commentators booth and maybe a couple of people in chat, seeing things shake out the way it did, we saw the curse belts pretty early, so we knew all of the search spots were going to be populated. Once we saw, Cole had the armor. Or no, I think it was before we saw that Cole had the armor, but we had seen on Xarnax on your screen those very difficult to search coordinates. Pretty much the only thing that could have shaken up the seat from that point is the potential of one of those nasty golems guarding the armor, and Hawksnest would have created a pretty interesting situation.
I was definitely saying, walking up to the spike tile, please no golem, please no golem.
Absolutely. And one thing I want to pivot to here is Xarnax, as you were getting close, I mean, I think it was like level 15 or level 14, was it, that gave that huge attack power boost, put you up to like 141, but your HP was a little bit low at 89, and you could have just ground the next level there or went into Charlock, and you chose to go to Charlock. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, I was very tempted to just not to run from everything and try it, because I felt so far behind because of I lost so much time at the start. And then I realized with my MP, with only 10 hurt mores, I was going to need way too many attacks for that to be viable. But I also knew that my attack was high enough that I just needed the HP. If like 10 heal mores was going to be enough, as long as my HP was safe. So I wasn't concerned about refilling my magic as long as I could get to the Dragon Lord with all that I had. My defense was huge. I think I was breaking everything, but I guess not. I wasn't quite up to blue dragons, but
no, you were. It's 94,
okay.
I believe.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a good half of the possible enemies in Charlock. So I peeked in there, and as soon as I saw Star Wyverns and Wizards and Green Dragons, and then especially when I saw Red Dragons had hurt, I was like, there's no way I'm leaving.
Absolutely, and I gotta say, for the situation you were in, that is possibly one of the dreamiest Charlocks I can imagine. I don't know if there's anything you were kind of worried about going in. We were kind of talking about the fact that we hadn't seen Red Dragons yet, and those turned out to have, I think it was like 75% hurt. I don't remember anything else we hadn't seen at that point, but an absolute dream of Charlock as you worked your way down for that last level.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, that Charlock was really nice. I don't even think I saw a red in it, but so you got the silver shield. I never got that. I ended up going through most of the seed with the small shield and kept searching every town for a large shield. I probably lost 2 minutes in searching places just for a large shield as it is. And so because of that, I wasn't breaking everything. And so the dive and grind sounded less appealing to me, and I was afraid I'd lose a couple of heal mores on the way down. And then when if that happened, and even if we got the HP, since I'm getting hit hard and we don't have a lot of hit points, I'm gonna lose something. And then I was afraid of kind of getting caught in that middle land where now I'm in the basement of Charlock. I have the stats, but I don't have the MP, and I have to exit out, and Charlock is way far away. So I decided to go ahead and, my plan was to grind until I death warped, but I happened to death warp right after hitting the, go level.
Yeah, and that is one thing that Xarnax did his gold grind really, really early, recognizing the fact that, he found that gold in the grave really early, and so he knew he could manufacture a gold grind pretty much anytime he wanted to, no death warp required. And Tilo, I believe you had one available to you as well. I'm not sure if it didn't have the knowledge, or maybe it just didn't seem an attractive option to you. If you could talk about your thought process there a little bit.
Well, so the first time, the 8th chest that I opened was that gold chest, and of course I went ahead and finished the dive, didn't find anything there, and I knew it was available to me, but our agility was high enough, it didn't seem like it was going to matter. And honestly, if it hadn't been for us being in that little middle zone in that last level, it never would have mattered. Our defense power was not causing us any problems of real note. Things wouldn't have been fundamentally different for me if I'd had another 10 defense power, honestly, or another 16, except for that dive. And so I wanted to get the large shield because then I was at least breaking Star Wyverns and Werewolves. But it just never seemed to me like it was worth a time sink to go all the way back into the grave and get the gold grind. If I had opened a gold chest, if that hadn't been my 8th chest, then I wouldn't have. Then I would have gone ahead and done the gold grind. But since it was my 8th chest, I'd have to go back and dive back into the grave, and it never sounded appealing enough to be worth the time sink it was going to be. Then again, the amount of time it would have taken to set that up probably would have been less time than the amount of time I spent checking all the shops in the whole game.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate because when you found coal, you got the armor, and there was a large shield there, which would have pretty much set you up for never needing to buy equipment again, but you were just short of gold. And then even more unfortunate luck, I think you found Grinham and had gold for a large shield, but there was none available, so you ended up having to go sneak over to Cole and grab one before making your dive. So yeah, I gotta say that's quite a bit of misfortune to add up, because I don't remember what the defense power was at the very end. I want to say it was like 95, 96, 97. Almost potential for defense breaking Axe Knights in that future, which may have affected the grind. But in the long run, it just kind of played out the way it played out. And I will say that, congratulations to both of you for taking very unorthodox starts, easily the most unorthodox start I have ever seen in playing or casting or watching these races. And again, Thilotilo, it is unfortunate about the rookie mistake, but something to make note of and keep in your back pocket. But a commendable performance regardless, this finish. I don't have it on screen, but I want to say you guys were within 5 minutes of each other despite the bumps along the way. So congratulations, GG. A little unfortunate, Xarnax will be moving on to 1-1, Thilotilo moving on to 0-2, but I don't imagine there will be too much trouble picking up that first win in the near future.
I certainly hope not. I mean, last year, I had to play a Nescarnality, started 0-1, went 4-1, then went in the playoffs and lost to Xarnax.
Yeah.
So far, both my opponents have been the two opponents that I lost to last year. So as long as I don't have to face either of them again, maybe I have a shot. But it was not a matchup that I was particularly thrilled to roll. I have nobody to blame but myself, since I was the one who set up the draw. I'm okay. I went in knowing this was I had a very high chance of losing the game, and I'm hoping that at 0-2, things might draw a little easier for me. Then again, with this tournament the way it is, nothing's an easy draw. But
absolutely not, and we could even set ourselves up for yet another rematch if Xarnax happens to get a tough opponent in his next match. Maybe we'll see the 1-2 double revenge match between you guys. That would be quite a sight to see. MDI noting in chat that that's the easiest way possible to 3-2, going 0-2 and then trying to claw your way back up. Duran asks, where can I find the seed for the games I just saw? You can actually find that on the speedrunslive.com page. If you go to speedrunslive.com and search Dragon Warrior Randomizer, just look for the race that features only Xarnax and Thilotilo in that recent match history, and the seed number will be right there at the top. Go ahead and plug that into the randomizer program, and you too can play this exact seed that you just saw run by our runners here. So with that, I think we're going to wrap it up, unless Xarnax or Thilotilo, do you have any final thoughts on the scene?
No, just GG Xarnax. Thank you, everybody, for putting together this production so quickly. And I'm going to enjoy at least not having the pressure of this week's game on me while I enjoy the rest of the tournament this week.
Absolutely, you get to relax, and a well-deserved relax you get to have. Xarnax, any final thoughts?
Nothing to add to what he just said.
Alrighty, well, let me just drop a couple of commands in chat roll here, and then we'll start the outro. Oh, looks like I don't have access to that bot. So we'll just kind of do this on the fly. So my name is lavkian, and thanks again to my co-commentator, RyuSeishin. Shout out to the people behind the scenes, Smashy doing the tracking, Amuse Miniature doing the re-hosting duties, and of course Xarnax and Thilotilo for putting on a wonderful, wonderful show. Please go ahead and drop everyone I just mentioned a follow. Keep an eye out on RPG Randomizer and RPG Limit Break and the Randomania networks for Dragon Warrior Randomizer matches in the near future. We are only in the very beginnings of week 2. We actually have a week 1 match scheduled for tomorrow to finish out week 1. And then week 2 matches are going to be littered out the rest of the week. If you want to see more Dragon Warrior Randomizer action, it's going to be here for you, either here on RPG Limit Break or on the Randomania networks. If you are thirsty for more Dragon Warrior Randomizer action tonight, you are in luck, as again, there is a very large race brewing. I think already 9 people in this race, casual race. You can go ahead and find that on the SRL.com front page. And until then, have a wonderful evening, and we will see you the next time the Dragons return. Have a good night, everybody. Almost rolled right into Furon's patented outro there.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks a lot.
Xarnax. Good game, Tilo. Good game, Xarnax.